you made this?
Feeling good, got some weed up in my wood, chasing dreams just like I should, letting go because I could. Used to have
Welcome back to another episode of JK Philly. Today we are continuing our series of the All 30 series. Today's just a different type of video. We're going to be going over a few of the teams that we weren't actually able to get in touch with and just give a little bit of our thoughts. So we'll kind of breeze through them real quick. Shouldn't be too long of a video, but just want to make sure that if you are a random fan of any of these teams that we got you still. We're still going to try to record a little bit of your video and give our thoughts and takes of it. But first, we want to start out with the Memphis Grizzlies. So since there's no guest for this segment, I kind of want to speak my mind a bit more about the Grizzlies. Personally, with them, I don't really like the team. I don't really like Ja Morant. I really don't see the hype around. I see the hype around him for sure, but just like as a player, he just seems like he's. And I could be crazy. It could be a crazy statement. I just feel like he's like a worse version of like Russell Westbrook.
Yeah, my opinion on Ja this year would be vastly different than it would have been 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I would have seen him as a legitimate number one option. And whether it's just from teams adjusting to his play style or the injuries obviously took something from him. He's a guy that was always going to rely on his athleticism. He doesn't shoot very well. It's kind of concerning from the Grizzlies standpoint that Ja isn't the out-and-out best player on that team anymore. Like Jaren Jackson Jr. made a very good case for being the most important piece to that team last year. So I think that would be the most concerning thing with the Grizzlies moving forward. But I agree with you. I don't see them as a contending team. I thought they overachieved slightly this year. I thought they were much better. When I looked at that team on paper, I thought they were much better during the season than I ever thought they were going to be coming into the first couple games.
Yeah, and even like to a team standpoint, I don't know if we talked about him much like throughout the season, but I did not know how good Scottie Pippen Jr. was throughout the season, and he's been really showing out. Like even in that first series, who was it against? They had to play in against the Warriors, I think. Just the way that they played against him, and even like their young guys like Scottie Pippen Jr., Jalen Wells, and even like the guy Gigi Jackson was really big last year too. He kind of dealt with some injury this year, but just like their young core seems promising with Jaren Jackson, of course. But just like the team, it just, I don't know. There's just something within it that I just don't like.
No, yeah, and I agree. There's too many players on that team with huge flaws. Ja not being able to shoot is always going to be exposed in the playoffs. He's not a terrible shooter, but he can't rely on that. He needs to be able to get to the rim. Mm-hmm. And Jaren Jackson Jr. is a great player, great all NBA defensive player. Why are you grabbing 5 rebounds a game at your size? I know you spend a lot of time on the perimeter. I still feel like there should be more with the way you're in the paint blocking shots on defense. Why are you averaging 5 rebounds a game?
Yeah, it is kind of crazy. And we don't have to go super deep into it, but just like there was big talk, even in a little bit into the playing series as well, of just like the talk about him not playing those last few games in the regular season because the Grizzlies don't want to pay him that supermax. And it's just like, and even with what's his name, Taylor Jenkins getting fired as well, it's just like once that happened, it just started to see the crumble of the Grizzlies. You could see it throughout the whole year with Ja's history report as well. It's just like, I don't know what they're going to do with that team. I've seen a lot of stuff about like trade Ja. No idea where he could go or where he would fit the best. But I don't think it's another team that's going to like view him as like the number one option.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't plan on signing him to a max contract, I would try to get rid of him before he. And, a year from now with his injuries and stuff, maybe that athleticism comes back 100% and he makes me eat my words. But if you're not going to pay him the supermax, I'd get rid of him as soon as possible. What are you holding on to him for?
Yeah. All right, well, I think, honestly, that's mostly stuff with Grizzlies is just how Ja's been performing and Jaren Jackson Jr., with a little bit of their young core. I want to move into the Portland Trailblazers now. Not a lot going on with the Portland Trailblazers. I'll be 100% honest with you. You know that. The only real thing, because we've been doing these episodes, and the thing that pops up a lot is I know you have some knowledge about Donovan Clingan. So just like, in terms of what he's been doing this year and producing and, kind of being the backup behind DeAndre Ayton. But I think what it looks like in Portland is that they want to move forward a little bit more with Donovan Clingan, and they kind of want to get DeAndre Ayton out there for whatever reason. You know, DeAndre Ayton isn't the best center in the league. He's definitely not even, you know, top 10 maybe. But just like Donovan Clingan, he has a lot more upside. So I just want to know, you know, like your perspective of him.
I'm a big fan. I loved watching him. He is not the sole reason, but the big reason UConn won back-to-back championships. He was unstoppable in college. He was incredible. But he was in one of those big men gray areas where it's like you're going to take him high because he's a very high draft pick and there's a very high ceiling, but you're also worried, like, damn, like you said, did I just draft a backup center? What did he end up going? Did he go like 7th or somewhere around there? 7th. Yeah, so you taking a guy at 7 that might just end up being like a Mason Plumlee, you get a little nervous, but he has the talent. He's a little slow for the NBA, but he's not like Zach Edey slow, where it's something like it's a huge detriment to the team. And no, I like him. I'm always root for a guy like him. He was fun to watch at UConn, and he has nothing but time to develop in Portland because they are years away from being a contending team unless they draft somebody this year and the coming years that just comes out of nowhere that nobody sees coming. They don't have a lot of talent on that roster.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting, and what I wanted to bring up too, because of, you know, obviously all the stuff with when Dame was there and CJ McCollum, and that was that duo, and they had a young Anthony Simons that was, you know, like up and coming at the time. It's kind of really been like transformed to being like the vet best player on the team, you know, aspect around him. And I was even talking with the Orlando Magic the other day, and they were saying, like, you know, if they want to really try something, Anthony Simons could go to the Magic, and that could, you know, solve your guard situation of having like somebody who's an actual guard. With that team, there's really nobody you can talk about. Like, I think the kid's name is Shaden Sharp. Jumps out of the gym, he had like the dunk of the year or something like that. And then you got Scoot Henderson, who's been very, very quiet his whole NBA career so far. Outside of that, you got like Jeremy Grant and Denny Advia, I think, from the Wizards. So just like some random guys on the team that are, you know, are trying to figure it out. I kind of like the young core that they had. Of course, like Donovan Clingan's a big name. Scoot Henderson, you could see that he kind of just took a bigger leap this year than he did the year previous. So you can see the puzzle pieces starting to come together with the Trailblazers. But, you know, this year, in terms of like what the series is, of just like a recap of the season, nothing happened. And even recording this now in June, we know that they didn't even really get a great draft pick either. So who knows what that team's going to look like eventually. But
yeah, and I'm trying to be patient with Scoot Henderson because, especially with social media and the easy access to stats and stuff these days, people are so quick to see some stats from a younger player and be like, oh, he's a bum, he's terrible. Especially with guards. Like, I remember Darius Garland's rookie season. You'd have thought he would never touch an NBA court in 2 or 3 years, and now look at him. Right. So people were laughing him out the gym. And Scoot did take a leap this year. He was still not – he's miles away from where you want him to be going into year 3. But year 1, he was arguably unplayable. He stayed on the court because he was the 2nd overall pick in the NBA draft. If he was the 22nd pick in the draft, he'd have been sent to the G League. Yeah. Insanely fast. He was it was the eye test and the numbers both went, that rookie year. So he definitely took a leap last year, but – he's still ways away, and that really set them back. You get the 2nd overall pick, and you're watching him struggle every single night. Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not keeping tabs with them, but, you know, good luck to them. We'll see what happens in the years to come. But let's move on. We only got a couple more teams left. The next team is very interesting to me, and I really wish we did have somebody on for these guys, but I just couldn't find anybody consistent. The New Orleans Pelicans. This team is probably as injury ridden as the Sixers were this year, which is very, very unfortunate. Because I felt like they did have a lot of good pieces. You know, what's his name? Trey Murphy was hurt. Zion was hurt. DeJounte Murray got hurt early in the season. Brandon Ingram was hurt.
Always.
The other guy, I forget his name. I always get them confused. They're like both of the big guys on the team that just got hurt with like a shoulder injury and then something else that they've dealt with all the time. But it's the same thing of just like injuries were so bad this year that they were playing like Javonte Green was getting good minutes and Brandon Boston Jr. was getting good minutes. Like it was rough down there, and I just feel like the way that season went was just like, wow, I don't even know what you could say about it. And they even started by trading for DeJounte Murray and getting rid of Dyson Daniels, and you saw how good he was in Atlanta this year. So, getting away from a guy like that, and then also later down the line, trading away Brandon Ingram to the Raptors too. Like, I don't know what the Pelicans got going on this year that they thought that would be a smart move. But yeah, I'm kind of confused with what this team is like, but I just want to know your overall thoughts from what their season looked like.
When they traded for Murray early in the season, I liked the trade a lot. I thought he would add another good thing to that team, but you're adding an injury-prone wing to a team with an injury-prone wing and a big man who's also injury-prone. You have three guys that, if healthy for a whole season, I could see being a top 4 seed in the West. Mm-hmm. But that's like asking Paul George and Embiid to put together a healthy season together. It's not going to happen. Yeah. Zion's got those allegations now, so he's got bigger fish to fry than his injury problem. That's just going to darken the mood on that franchise even more. The Ingram trade, I understand the Pelicans wanting to get out of Brandon Ingram because, like I just said, he's hurt all the time. Yeah. You'd love to pay a guy like that if he's healthy, but he's hurt all the time. I didn't understand the Raptors bringing on Brandon Ingram. I wasn't really sure unless they just wanted a guy to sell tickets, because I don't think he takes the Raptors to, I don't know if he's healthy next year. What do you think? Him and Scotty Barnes get you like a 6th seed, best case scenario?
I guess. It has to be the possibility of what they're thinking, but it's like,
who are they bunny hopping at?
Do you not have Scotty Barnes in that type of forward position, or do you strictly just, this is telling you, hey, I want you to play the 4 and nothing else? I mean, but still, he's going to be hurt, so he's going to have to play the 3 regardless. It was kind of confusing to me overall, and just they only got they only got Bruce Brown and Kelly Olynyk back, and I think like a pick maybe out of Brandon Ingram. I
didn't know Kelly Olynyk was still in the NBA.
That's what I'm saying. Like I don't really know what the point of that trade was. I'm kind of confused with what the Pelicans are doing. I hope they can come back, because what was it, 2 years ago, where they started off like somewhat of the first half of the season and they were at the top of the board, and then Zion got hurt and they just plummeted after that. It's kind of unfortunate. Yeah.
And even with those other injury-prone guys, it starts and stops with Zion. He has to be healthy. Mm-hmm. You see, he's one of those guys whose impact is enormous when he's out on the court. And, I mean, you saw this year. He was hurt all year. He comes back for one game. He's throwing down windmill dunks. And, he's doing stuff you're waiting for Zion to do. And he does it for about 5-6 games, and then he's right back on the shelf.
Yeah, it seems like, I was going to say as a last point, it seems like from some interviews that you see on social media and stuff that he's not the one, of course he's not the one, but he's not the one that's saying like, yes, I would like to sit, or yes, I would like to, whatever it's called, of sitting out of games. He's just like, I'm ready to go. They just don't want to play me. And
because there's reports coming out that, all the jokes about him being fat, they say he's the smallest he's been since he got into the NBA. They say his weight is down. Mm-hmm. They say he's in good shape. He just can't stay healthy.
Yeah. So whatever for them. Hopefully they get it together and they could do something. I guess I don't know what the Pelicans' plan is, but let's move into our last team. I kind of should have picked a better team to be the last team, but we got the Washington Wizards as the last team. Again, not really anything to say about the Wizards. You have Alex Sarr that was drafted number 2 overall and was just pretty, I wouldn't say totally underwhelming, but he was definitely underwhelming as a number 2 overall pick. It kind of reminds you a little bit of Scoot Henderson, of just like, nobody cares about them. So
yeah, I would say, though, especially later in the season, Alex Sarr actually started to that team really, them young dudes flourished as soon as they got rid of Kyle Kuzma. And maybe it was just the minutes available or, him not being able to chuck shots up all game anymore. But Sarr showed me some things I really like. I like that he can shoot the three ball. He's a very good 3-point shooter. I like he runs the pick and well very well with some of his teammates. They have some good young, like where I look at Portland's roster and I go, ugh. I like some of the young guys on the Wizards. Like, I think they're still missing that guy, but I like Bilal Coulibaly. I think he's going to be a good player. I'm a Pitt fan, so I'm a big Bub Carrington guy. And he had and again, he's one of those guys, he really stepped up when Kuzma left the team. So I like some of the young talent on the team, but one of those young guys is going to have to emerge and be that number one option.
Yeah, I think I was definitely going to mention Bub Carrington a little bit, but there's the other guy, and I'm blanking on his name. I'm pretty sure it's AJ Johnson, the guy that got traded from Milwaukee. He's been really well too. So it's a kind of similar situation of Portland, of just like a bunch of young guys that, if they're surrounded by the right type of environment, they may be able to do something better than they did and showed this year. But it's all just about hope with them at the end of the day. It's just like, we hope Alex Sarr is going to take a jump being the number 2 overall pick, and he's going to show why he was the number 2 overall pick, because the draft class was just so underwhelming of just like those top 5 guys, I guess, of just like you didn't really hear much. Well, of course, like Stephon Castle, but just like
they both started slow too. I think that killed their momentum. The boy in Atlanta, whose name I can never say,
Ricochet, I think.
Ricochet. He actually, same thing as Sarr. Towards the end of the season, he started to put some good games together, and but both of them came out the gate so bad. And even before the draft, people had been saying for months, this is the weakest draft in so long, and so years. So that plus them starting slow, I think people just wrote them off as soon as the season started. Let's debate on legacy some more.
People were high on Jared McCain scoring 30 points when everybody else was hurt, and then when he went out, then Stephon Castle was playing like he's been in the league for like 3 years at that point. So I mean, we got some good stuff out of it, but overall, I don't think, if you do have something else about the Wizards, go ahead and mention it. But at the end of the day, we wanted to make sure that we got all the teams involved, so we're starting to wrap up. I don't know when we're going to release this. We're starting to wrap up the rest of the teams, waiting for, obviously, the NBA Finals to finish up so we can see who wins out of that in OKC and the Pacers, man. It's actually a crazy thing to think about that the Pacers got to the Finals before the Sixers.
It is, but that being said, I love it. I love new, young teams in the Finals. I'm not one of these people that, I don't know, man. I'd be on social media. I'd be thinking people don't even enjoy basketball anymore. They're talking about, OKC, Indiana's the worst possible matchup because they're talking about viewership. And I'm like, who cares, bro? I want to watch the 2 best teams play basketball. I enjoy basketball.
Yeah, unless they get like blown out. Unless OKC blows them out by like 40 plus points every night. Just watch basketball. It's just basketball, man. And
don't get me wrong, I got Thunder in 5. I think they're the much better team. But that's more of a reflection on the East and how poor the East is, that we're letting, and no disrespect to the Pacers, that's a really good team, but that's what's representing the East.
Yeah, right.
During conference, like, Pacers are a 7 seed in the West.
And everybody's talking about Halliburton, but why are we not talking about Pascal Siakam?
Siakam's been great. He did get robbed for MVP, though. He should have been the conference finals MVP.
You think so? Halliburton?
Yeah. I would have given it to Halliburton over Siakam.
Yeah.
Although, I'm not mad Siakam got it. I would have given it to Halliburton.
Siakam was just so consistent throughout throughout the whole playoffs. He was just so consistent. You have a Halliburton, 30-plus point game, and then another game he has like 8. So
I think that game where he took like 7 shots is what killed him.
Yeah.
For getting, people saw that like, yo, what you doing? At least, you only gonna make 2 shots. At least take like 15.
Right. Well, that's all we got for today. We're about to record another episode, so make sure you guys stay tuned to the channel, and we'll see you on the next episode. Thank you guys for watching another episode of JK Philly. Make sure you stay tuned by subscribing to the channel.